Hi there, it's Hannah. Originally, I was not intending to do an introduction to my videos every time. I obviously did an introduction to my first video to let you know what I was doing. However, this being my second video, I wasn't intending on doing an introductory video, and I decided in hindsight that would be important to do because this video talks a lot about the emotional space that I was in when I was creating this picture. It is a fast forward overview briefly of my creating this piece. I definitely intend in the future to do a lot more technical videos where I talk about specifics of what it is that I am doing. And my next video that I do, I expect to be in that vein. However, this video is a lot about my emotions, and if that is not what you are here for, then feel free to skip it. And I will let you know in the next video when it's a technical one. And if this is your thing, then awesome. All right, thank you so much, and never stop creating. Hi, this is Hannah Rubenstall. I am the crafter here at Fanciful Spaces, and you are currently watching vlog 2 of my, learning how to find who I am. If you missed it, you're only one vlog episode away, and I introduced what was happening, so you can just go back and if you're really that curious. So here I am going through possibly a midlife crisis and trying to discover who I am via art and talking and doing stuff I have never done before in my entire life. And that's what we're doing here. We're figuring things out. This video that you're watching now, I struggled with a lot because the piece that I wanted to talk about, which I'm calling Strong and Wild, that you're watching me create right here, I had made a long time ago. I was in a very, very different headspace than I am now. I've had, it's been a couple of weeks since I've made that piece. I've made like 5 other pieces since then. And I've been going through therapy and thinking about things a lot. And I just in a very different place. But the point of this vlogging was sort of to talk to you about who I was when I was going through the moment. And it was remembering who that person was that I've been struggling with. And here I am today. I had a lot of thinking, and I legitimately just left my therapy session and decided I was going to tackle this beast much like the project I was working on yesterday that scared me. It won't be as scary as I think it is because my imagination is making things crazier than necessary, and I'll figure this out as I go along, which is what happened yesterday, and it seems like that's what's happening now. So let's get to this work of art here. Much like the previous work of art that I made, I started in a very similar way by gessoing down some lace. I was really interested in the texture of that lace. I have done a third piece using the same lace, different layout, just exploring different options with it. I was really, really enjoying the texture of the lace. Specifically, I went into this project knowing that it was going to be yellow and purple. I just wanted to see yellow, purple, and orange together in the same painting. And it was primarily going to be yellow, and that purple, I knew the color that purple was going to be, which is the purple that does end up happening. Some purples are super red and some are super blue. But this is just like the right shade of purple in this photo, in this project. Sorry, I got distracted. So I knew that that's what it was going to be. And I was also, at the time, mentally wise, it was right after I had that emotional breakdown and I was still in that very like, oh, the pain doesn't hurt so bad, so I feel refreshed and revitalized, and all of a sudden you can breathe as if you've just escaped from drowning. And the reason that was so successful, the reason why it didn't last a very long time for me, it was like a week and a half, maybe something like that. It was potentially a lot worse than that. Was because of my husband. And he has a lot of really great skills to get me through whatever I need to get through. And at the same time, in therapy, he was going with me. And the therapist was trying to learn about me and who I was. And my husband's part of it, and he was sitting there with me. So he was asking about our marriage and how we got together. And so while I'm incredibly grateful that my husband has saved my life, I'm also reliving the burst of our relationship that we had, what started the ball rolling, and the story of our getting together, and the summers before we got together, just our entire history of our lives since we've known each other. And how early on, it's really, really stupid. It totally feels like fate. Like, I had a crush on him a long ass time before we ever even got together. And it just felt like fate. And here is this person who saved my life. And I'm still going very much through this Dave Matthews Band phase. I'm like super inspired by Dave Matthews Band. And there's this song called Here On Out from their newest album. And I just love the lyrics of the song. You should totally check it. The album's called Come Tomorrow, I think. I don't know. I'll list it in the blog post. Where was it? And now I am opened up. I am strong and wild, like the storms out the stars in my blood. And it's all because of you, my love. The entire imagery that gives you is just, well, that I receive anyway, really powerful and strong. And thinking about my husband and very happy with, I am no longer drowning. This is cool. And just trying to get in that headspace. So that's where I was when I was making this piece. And you can see I've used some Ranger Dylusions paint. I really like Dylusions. It's high, I can't think of the term, high flow paint. There's a lot of, it's very fluid, and I can dilute it down really, really easily, and it's really nice. And it allowed me to work up the base layers to where I was beginning to get comfortable with where the colors were at. So that's when I brought in my Lindy sprays, and I worked from semi-matching the color that I had to building up those ever increasing steps of color. So it wasn't just one color of spray that I got, and I achieved what I wanted. I had to layer like a yellow paint with a yellow spray, and then an orange paint with an orange spray, and a red paint with a red spray. This is how you're getting your depth of everything that's going on. And especially with Lindy's sprays, or I mean any spray, but I like Lindy's because of the sparkle. That it just provides a lot of texture. It ultimately still, I wanted to push my color boundaries further, and I realized that after I got the purple stripe in and I got the purple figured out and perfect. So then I went through with some gelatos, and because I do lose some of that texture rubbing in that gelato, I went back in with some of the sprays just to help. They are not going to mask, they're going to emphasize the base layer of color that you have. So that's why I had to go back and do the Lindy sprays, because I lost some of that with the gelatos. I love the iridescent gelatos by Faber-Castell. They make my heart sing. Pretty much, if you haven't noticed, anything with iridescence makes my heart sing. So, I wanted to put the Lindy spray, the purple Lindy spray over the purple stripes. That meant I had to mask out that red line that I chose to give myself on the border of the piece. So that's what those towels were doing there. And remember, I wanted the orange, so that's why I didn't allow any red on the other side, the textured side where all of the orange was going. I just wanted to go, I really wanted orange and purple to be next to each other. So I'm going to do a big no-no coming up here, and I'm thinking about it now. So I just wanted to cover it up. I put my finger in my Nuvo glitter paste. You don't want to do that. What I should have done was gotten a spatula and removed some that way. There's no matter how clean your fingers are, there's going to be ickies on your fingers, germs, and you don't want that to then live in that jar for who knows how long until you open that jar up again, because it can get quite gross in there. So just don't stick your finger in there. I did because I just wasn't thinking at the time. Actually, when I thought of it, I said, oh, I shouldn't do that. And I totally did it anyway. So yeah, that is the headspace I was in. When I was working on this, was just thinking about my husband and being very grateful that the color just got so much better with those Faber-Castells, didn't they? Just being in love with my husband and being very appreciative of our story and that he saved me and took such great care of me. Was just where I was when I was thinking about this piece. I do have a third piece also using a Dave Matthews lyric. It's totally different and yet totally the same, just like the previous one was. We will talk about that, I think, next week, the week after next. I have currently 5 projects that are either completed or nearly completed that I need to do the video on. So I've got like a lot to share with you. I'm like super duper excited, and not all of it is watching me put gelato down for like 20 minutes. I did not realize this was going to happen for so long, but I super geek out on looking at all the color and just that transition was jarring, but just seeing the beautiful transitions. Here I am sticking my finger in that glimmer paste. The magnificent thing about this glitter paste is that it has iridescent sparkle in it. Tonic has a wide variety of glimmer pastes, some with iridescent sparkle and some without. I tend to be drawn more toward the iridescent sparkle, and this one does not disappoint. It's very subtle here in picture, and it's also very subtle in person, but it allows the picture to grow on you. When you step up closer to it, it takes on another level of life. That I feel it adds a lot to the value of the piece, and it was worth dipping my finger in there and possibly contaminating that jar. Just finishing things off, the letters are going to be done with the Lindy sprays as well. I really freaking like my Lindy sprays, if you have not noticed. A lot of times I'm like, how do I work a Lindy spray into this? Or try to justify the use of them, even if I don't think they're the right tool. I just freaking love them. I was super excited. I used the Magicals shakers yesterday for a project for the first time in a while. Did not disappoint. I was dyeing some flowers for a project that I've been giving sneak peeks on Instagram and Facebook, and they turned out really, really pretty and super perfect, and it's killing me not to release it and share it to you, because it's currently where my mind is right now, which is right now personally trying to figure out how I'm getting what I want out of life. And I'm no longer mourning the things that made me depressed previously. Things are in a really, really good place with my husband and myself, and in an amazing place with my daughter. And I'm getting a ton out of therapy and figuring myself out, and just really joyful at the moment. Also, the one thing that I've been learning, and I was discovering this actually working on this painting, was that people's heads don't go 90,000 miles an hour on overdrive of 1,000 things that could go wrong in the world. Apparently that's called anxiety, and apparently I have a lot of it, and this is not normal. So the last week or so, my mind has been relatively quiet. I actually didn't have anything to share specifically that jumped out when I saw my therapist today. There was no fight. There was no area of tension at all. It was just a quiet and peaceful week. And I've been taking anti-anxiety medication for like years now, for other non-anxiety related things. And I just assumed what I feel is normal, and apparently it's not. So yay, we moved on. The background is done. The letters were pretty easy. Here I am doing the math for placing the letters. I have specifically, I want to go in depth and talk about how I place the letters in the next video. The last Dave Matthews Band reference. When I was recording the video, I was specifically thinking about things that I wanted to talk to you about. So we're going to do that more in depth then, and maybe less touchy-feely now. Funny thing is I totally messed up the placement on those letters, and it was after the point of no return, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have to go with it then. So, yeah. That was just funny, and I like the piece a lot more now because of it, actually. The fact that the letters are off really added a lot. So I placed my letters down. At the time, I was using score tape and Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. I have since realized score tape is probably, even though I super love it, I worry that it'll hold up long term. So now I'm only using Deluxe adhesive, and the letters needed more contrast, needed more depth they looked too flat for me. So I decided to give them all a highlight point, and I personally always highlight from my top left, and that's what I chose to do. And it was just me messing around trying to figure out the best, what tools I had to get the best color. So here's some gelatos, and I got very, very close to there. And then I decided I was going to use some of the new Nuvo drops, the iridescent ones. That just got released. I have recently been in love with using Nuvo drops and their brethren, jewel drops and crystal drops, for purposes other than that they were designed for. And I decided to use some white ones as a highlight. Lo and behold, there was a lot of red pigment floating around on those letters, and it intermingled with the drops, and they dried clear with a slight red tint, but very, very shiny. It was a very unexpected result for me. They did not hold their color at all. The highlight comes as you walk past the letters. When the lights shift, you see it pop, and it adds so much. It was just a very unexpected result, and it added a lot, and I very much appreciated that. So when I stopped filming this, it looked a different way than what I thought it would end up looking. And yeah, I am strong and wild because of my husband and who he is and where we have grown in our relationship. And this piece is like a love song to him. Yeah, I just really love him a lot. Thank you for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe if you are interested in more of my drivel. And let me know in comments what works for you. And yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day and never stop creating.